If you have high blood pressure, stop consuming this herb immediately. I don't care if it's in your tea, your supplements, your candy, or labeled as all natural. One of the most commonly used herbal remedies in the world can quietly raise your blood pressure, drain your potassium, and increase your risk of dangerous heart rhythm problems, even if you think you're doing everything right. I've seen people cut salt completely. They exercise, they lose weight, they take their medication exactly as prescribed, and still their blood pressure refuses to come down. It stays stubborn, resistant, mysterious. The real problem isn't always sodium. It isn't always stress. And it's not just genetics. It's licorice root. Yes, the same licorice promoted for digestion, adrenal fatigue, and immune support. Most people assume that natural means safe. That assumption is exactly what makes this herb so risky. Because what it does inside your body is not gentle. It manipulates your mineral balance in a way that directly pushes your blood pressure higher. In this video, I'm going to show you the real mechanism behind this and how to protect yourself starting today. Here's where most people, and even many healthcare conversations, get this wrong. When someone has high blood pressure, the automatic advice is predictable. Reduce salt, lose weight, exercise more, manage stress, take medication. And yes, those things matter. But what if I told you that sometimes blood pressure rises not because you're eating too much sodium, but because your body is being tricked into holding on to it? That's exactly what licorice does. Most discussions around licorice focus on its benefits: soothing the stomach, supporting the adrenals, calming inflammation. Very few people talk about its darker side. And when they do, it's often brushed off as only a problem if you eat too much candy. That's misleading. The issue isn't just candy. It's licorice root itself, specifically a compound inside it called glycyrrhizin. This substance interferes with an enzyme in your body that normally protects you from excess cortisol activity. When that enzyme is blocked, cortisol, your stress hormone, starts acting like another hormone called aldosterone. Now, why does that matter? Because aldosterone tells your kidneys to retain sodium and excrete potassium. When sodium is retained, water follows. More water in your bloodstream means higher blood volume, and higher blood volume means higher blood pressure. It's simple physics. At the same time, losing potassium creates another problem. Potassium helps relax blood vessels and stabilize heart rhythm. When potassium drops, blood vessels constrict more easily, and the electrical system of your heart becomes more vulnerable to irregular beats. So now you have a double hit: increased sodium and water retention, raising blood pressure; decreased potassium, making blood vessels tighter and the heart less stable. And here's the part most people never hear. This effect can mimic a condition called hyperaldosteronism, even though your actual aldosterone levels are normal. Your body behaves as if it's in a hormonal imbalance simply because of a plant compound. This is why some people experience unexplained spikes in blood pressure, muscle cramps, fatigue, or even heart rhythm changes, while their lab results look confusingly normal. The medical system often treats the number on the blood pressure cuff. It increases medication. It adjusts dosage. But if the root cause is something you're ingesting daily, a tea, a supplement, a natural stress formula, then we're just suppressing symptoms while the trigger remains active. This is what I mean when I say we must look at the root cause. Licorice doesn't raise blood pressure because it's stimulating. It raises blood pressure because it alters hormone signaling and mineral balance at a biochemical level. And unless you understand that mechanism, you'll keep chasing the symptom instead of removing the trigger. Now let me break this down in a way that truly makes sense, because once you understand this mechanism, you'll never look at licorice the same way again. Inside your kidneys, there's a protective enzyme called 11-beta-hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase type 2. I know, that sounds complicated, but think of it as a security guard. Its job is simple. It prevents cortisol, your stress hormone, from activating mineralocorticoid receptors that are meant specifically for aldosterone. Why does that matter? Because aldosterone has a very specific role. It tells your kidneys, hold on to sodium, get rid of potassium. Cortisol, on the other hand, is involved in stress response, blood sugar regulation, inflammation control, completely different jobs. The problem is that cortisol and aldosterone look very similar at the receptor level. If the security guard isn't doing its job, cortisol can sneak in and activate aldosterone receptors. And that's exactly what glycyrrhizin from licorice does. It inhibits that protective enzyme. The security guard steps away, and suddenly cortisol starts behaving like aldosterone. Now your kidneys receive a constant signal that says, retain sodium, retain sodium, retain sodium. And whenever sodium is retained, water follows. Water always follows sodium. That increases blood volume. And when blood volume increases, pressure inside your blood vessels rises. Imagine turning up the water pressure in a closed plumbing system. The pipes feel it immediately. Your arteries are those pipes. At the same time, potassium is being excreted, and potassium is critical for two major reasons. First, potassium helps relax the smooth muscle in your blood vessels. Adequate potassium allows vessels to dilate. When potassium levels drop, vessels become more prone to constriction. Narrower vessels plus higher blood volume, that's a perfect recipe for elevated blood pressure. Second, potassium stabilizes the electrical activity of your heart. Your heart beats because of precise electrical signals moving through cardiac cells. Those signals depend on balanced sodium and potassium gradients across cell membranes. When potassium drops too low, even moderately, the electrical stability of the heart becomes more fragile. That's when people may experience palpitations, irregular heart rhythms, or in severe cases, dangerous arrhythmias. Here's something even more fascinating. This condition caused by licorice is sometimes referred to as pseudo-hyperaldosteronism. Your lab tests may show low renin and low aldosterone levels, which confuses many clinicians. But clinically, your body behaves as if aldosterone is excessively high. Why? Because cortisol is hijacking the receptor. So you might have elevated blood pressure, low potassium, fluid retention, suppressed renin, normal or low aldosterone. And unless someone asks about licorice intake, the connection can easily be missed. This isn't about stimulation. It's not about caffeine-like effects. It's a direct biochemical interference with hormonal regulation inside your kidneys. And here's the critical point. This effect is dose-dependent, but sensitivity varies. Some people can develop measurable blood pressure changes within weeks of regular intake, especially if they already have hypertension. This is why understanding the mechanism matters. When you see how deeply it interferes with mineral balance and hormone signaling, you realize this isn't a minor side effect. It's a root-level disruption. Now let's talk about what you can actually do, because awareness without action doesn't protect you. If you have high blood pressure, borderline hypertension, unexplained potassium issues, or heart rhythm sensitivity, these steps are not optional. They're practical and powerful. Number 1, eliminate regular licorice root intake immediately. Check your teas, check your supplements, check adrenal support formulas, digestive blends, and herbal candies. Look for the words licorice root or glycyrrhizin. If you have hypertension, chronic kidney issues, or cardiovascular risk factors, this herb should not be part of your daily routine. Number 2, understand the difference between whole licorice and DGL. There is a form called DGL, deglycyrrhizinated licorice. The glycyrrhizin, the compound responsible for blocking that protective kidney enzyme, has been removed. DGL is often used for digestive support and does not carry the same blood pressure risk. If you need licorice for stomach issues, DGL is the safer alternative, but always verify labeling carefully. Number 3, monitor your potassium status. If you've been consuming licorice regularly and you experience muscle cramps, fatigue, weakness, or palpitations, talk to your healthcare provider about checking serum potassium. Low potassium is not something you guess about. It should be measured, and correcting it may require both dietary adjustment and addressing the root trigger. Number 4, increase dietary potassium naturally, if medically appropriate. Foods like leafy greens, avocados, beans, squash, and salmon support healthy potassium levels. However, this must be individualized. If you have kidney disease or are on certain medications, you should not increase potassium blindly. Always coordinate with your clinician. Number 5, reassess stubborn hypertension from a root cause perspective. If your blood pressure remains elevated despite medication, ask a deeper question. What in my daily intake might be interfering with my mineral balance? It could be licorice. It could be hidden sodium. It could be hormonal factors. But you won't find the answer if you only keep increasing medication dosage. Number 6, give your body time to rebalance. The good news is this. In many cases, once licorice is removed, blood pressure and potassium levels gradually normalize over days to weeks. The body has an incredible capacity to restore balance if you remove the disruptor. This isn't about fearing herbs. It's about respecting physiology. Natural compounds are powerful, and powerful means they must be used with precision. When you address the trigger instead of masking the symptom, you shift from reaction to correction. That's how real health improvements happen. But here's something most people don't realize. Licorice is just one example of how hidden hormonal disruptors can quietly affect your blood pressure. There are other everyday substances that interfere with cortisol, insulin, and mineral balance in ways that make hypertension much harder to control. If you want to truly master your blood pressure from the root cause level, you need to understand how these hormone pathways connect. In the next video, I'm going to break down another overlooked trigger that may be keeping your numbers elevated. Click on that video now. Your arteries will thank you.